Let's see what LaVar Arrington, the former Redskin, works on NFL AM on the NFL Network, also 106.7 The Fan in D.C. LaVar, good to have you back on. Who is running things in D.C. right now?
Well, first and foremost, I appreciate the intro music, Dan. You may not have known this, but that is a song that I hold very dear to my heart because of Varsity Blues and how it's related to that movie and how much I love that movie. But
is that
shameless trivia right there. There Goes My Hero is the name of that song.
Is that Foo Fighters?
I do believe it is Foo Fighters. I think that's a good pull on your part.
There you go. All right, so who's making all these decisions in D.C.?
Oh, wow. It's pretty complicated here, Dan, and the reason being is that you know that there are people who are trying to stay face. There are people who are trying to salvage their reputations. There's legacies on the line here. It's hard to say who's clearly making the decisions. I don't know if there's an influence from ownership or from the coach, from the player, and all of this. It's just very confusing. And I think that's with what all the dismay and anger and frustration of the fan base, and which is interesting here. Even the media, I think the media is frustrated. I think the media is growing tired of continuing. I know for me, I'm just tired of being a former player of this team and always trying to figure out these types of questions. Why are we not talking about a surge for the playoffs and trying to get to the Super Bowl? We just always seem to find ourselves back at square one talking about these things.
But you had John Madden who talked about the integrity of the game. Somehow the Redskins are violating that unwritten rule here by sitting RG3.
Listen, I agree. And the reason why I say I would agree, and I know I heard you before we got going about maybe you decide to protect him now. Who cares if it took this long, or give him an opportunity to watch? I can understand that thought process, but that's something that they should have hashed out long before now. Let's be clear. If Mike Shanahan is volunteering his time to coach this team, then you can take that approach. Oh, he's finally figured it out. Rest RG3 now. Give him an opportunity. That man is making $7 million a year to make decisions that are going to best serve this team and this organization. So when you're making that type of money, you're being compensated at the highest level. And to me, you have to make decisions that are responsible decisions, but also the right decision. And to me, if you feel this way now in week 14 of the season, then please help me understand how you don't feel that coming into the season. And this is now the time that you decide to do it. I can't buy that. I think that the wheels have fallen off. And
why is he doing it then, LaVar?
To be honest with you, I could speculate as much as anybody else. If I gave you my opinion on it, I think there's a couple different ways to look at this. You sit RG3, or are you playing Kirk Cousins? That's the first way you got to look at it. RG3 has not played well this season. He hasn't shown that he has improved, or even glimpses. I know people said, he looks like he's getting better. He's improving it with his pocket awareness. Where, Dan? Where have you seen that? I know he's holding the ball too long. As a defender now, this is just putting on my defender hat. I know if I'm studying film on Robert Griffin III, he holds the ball too long. He doesn't go through the proper progressions, and he's pretty one track with his reads. If that's what you have as a defender, then I'm saying to myself, I know all I need to do is stop Alfred Morris, and the rest of it can fall into place for what we're trying to do. So I look at it as Mike Shanahan may be, with all the leaks, you guys are aware of all the leaks that have come out that are really kind of direct shots at Robert Griffin III. Yeah. If you connect those reports that you're frustrated with the relationship between the player and the coach, you're frustrated with the fact that a guy doesn't want his bad plays shown and team meetings, different things like that, well, I feel like you've built a case to say I finally got him out of the way, and I'm showing you that this guy in my offensive scheme can thrive. I'm showing you that this team can do better if I have a guy that can run my offense. We all know that this offense was tailored to Robert Griffin III. So now you're looking at certain packages that they will run with Kirk Cousins that they may have not have ran with Robert Griffin III.
Does Kirk
that's
Cousins?
My strongest spot.
Okay, I think Shanahan is saying to Daniel Snyder, "I'm still the coach here, and I'm going to sit down your guy. I'm going to give Kirk Cousins a little run here." But I do think that Shanahan never should have cleared RG3 health-wise. Because if he says he's not 100%, you know what? I give him credit. He played through it. That's the kind of kid he is. But I want to sit him down because I got to think long-term, big picture for him. Whether I'm here or not, I want Redskin fans to see the greatest quarterback that we've had here in a long, long time. Kirk Cousins gives us a better chance now. And I want to see what he can do in these final 3 games. If you couch it in a certain way, you can get positives out of it. You know,
the background stories are too strong. The way you presented it is, if there were no background stories coming out of the summer where the two have been going at it in the media the entire time, then what you're saying will fly, and no one has any problems.
Oh, they handled it poorly, LaVar. This has been handled poorly since the playoff game. When I see him limping around, I'm yelling at the TV.
Take him out.
Take him out.
Right, and the entire world of football said take him out. You put him back in, and then the worst scenario plays out. So now that's one piece of it, Dan. You think about it. The injury happened. You made a mistake. You trusted your quarterback. The doctor said he could play, couldn't damage himself anymore. He said he wanted to play. You have a trust factor that you have to build with your star quarterback. He trusted his quarterback. His quarterback got hurt. That trust was destroyed. But when they went into the off season with it, when you talk an entire off season, like, I'm sorry, Dan, if me and you are doing a show together and a year ago you got popped in the mouth by me in studio and we were able to continue to work together, why are we going to continue to do interviews about who was at fault and who wasn't at fault? Dan, you shouldn't have called me a name. I ended up dotting you in your eye. I mean, I don't understand why we would continue to discuss that. People will move on from that. Oh, they had a disagreement, but they still do a heck of a show. That to me is the scenario that did not play out
because it wasn't finalized. And I said all season long, RG3 keeps hinting back at something without saying it.
Yep.
And Mike Shanahan, okay, RG3's to blame here too because he had this whole campaign to come back. I said, you know, the first month he should have sat down, let Kirk Cousins play. He comes back after the bye week. And then you let him ease into the season that way instead of no training camp, and you throw him out there.
I'm going to stop you right there. Dad, players should not, have not, do not, generally won't have that type of say in the media and what takes place. See, that's why you get paid the big dollars to be the leader as a coach. It should have been put to bed. If it wasn't finalized, it should have been finalized behind closed doors. But that now goes to the argument that Mike Shanahan has made against this team, that the relationship is too strong between that player and this owner. Okay. And that's why he was confident enough to continue to take shots at the leadership of this team.
I agree.
You can't win in that. Nobody wins in that.
Does Shanahan survive? Who's coach? Is he coaching this team next year?
It's a hard one, man. It's a hard one because I look at it like this. Mike Shanahan is an influential figure. There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of people that have a lot of love and a lot of respect for him within this industry. That can be very dangerous for Dan Snyder. His reputation is already kind of it's shaky amongst people in the league within this game. I don't know how he handles this. I would have thought you would have gotten rid of him by him forcing your hand with whoever it is that leaked such detailed information about Mike Shanahan's dismay for this team and his discontent with the relationship between Robert and the owner. But he didn't. And not only did he not, but that now he's allowing him to bench his golden child. And it just seems as though there's a chess match taking place. There's a battle of wits. He has one more year on his contract. Do you allow him to walk away with that $7 million?
Yes.
I think conventional wisdom says you have to allow him to go for the sake of this team. But is there a battle of wills? Is this a game of chicken that ends with a head-on collision, or will somebody pull out of the way? I don't know. I know this, for being at 3-10, it's pretty doggone interesting. This is the most interesting storyline that I've ever been a part of watching this team. I do know that.
Good to visit with you, LaVar, and thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you having me on.
All right, buddy. LaVar Arrington of NFL AM on the NFL Network and 106.7 The Fan in D.C.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.